Drew, what do you think?
River?
Okay.
I like this dude.
What?
What, me? Who, me?
Yeah, you.
I like this guy that submitted a recipe. I like it. I'm checking out. I'm stalking him on Facebook. I think the river.
Okay.
Huh.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sunrise Extra. Hi, Instagram. How are you today? We are waiting for Facebook and Twitter and everybody else to pop up. But our question of the day are kind of two fun ones.
Yes, we could pose both questions and see which one garners the most response.
Okay, first question. The big float is this Saturday
Yes.
on the Willamette River in downtown.
Yes, that's like 5,000 people or so getting in floats and floating together along the Willamette River. Something you never would have seen 20 years ago.
Yeah, air mattresses, floaties, whatever you got, and enjoying the river. A lot of people, though, still remember the old mantra of never get in the Willamette River because there used to be sewage overflows and
regularly. God
knows what from ships passing through. We are asking, would you get in the Willamette River, even though weekly tests show that it's clean and safe to recreate in? Question number 2. Think about that one. Question number 2. Amazon is selling kits to build a 300 square foot tiny home.
Yes, tiny.
It does not include plumbing, electricity, cabinetry, roofing, shingles, any of that stuff, so you have to add that on. But what is the minimum square footage that you require to live?
Right. I like this question.
Like realistically.
Yeah. What is the smallest space you can manage in? And then I said, you know, that 300 sounds fine to me. And then Brenda earlier was asking me, well, what about living with someone else? Could that still work? And I said, yes, it could still work for me. Now, I don't know how the other person would feel about sharing such a tight space with me, but I don't require a lot of space, I don't think.
I could do it by myself in 300 square feet. I wouldn't be like, you know, totally happy about it, but I couldn't do it with a second person.
And I'm okay with someone coming on board as long as they're okay with me.
Because if you leave one dish out,
that wouldn't be the issue.
That's the whole space situation.
I just like the idea of like less cleanup, less maintenance, less of all those things you have to do around your home, and it would allow for more time to be outside your home, which is really what you like to do anyway, right?
That's true.
Get out of your house. Get out of that tiny
So 2
space.
questions, weigh in. I've posted those on Facebook, and KGW has shared them. Oh, we're already getting comments.
All right.
Teresa says, not in 1 million years, and there is, would she get in the river?
Yes.
And there are still overflows into the Willamette River from sewage every winter. Yes, Teresa, you are right.
So they have knocked down the regularity of those with that big pipe project a few years ago.
Yeah.
And it used to be where if you got a 1/10 of an inch of rain or so, the overflow would happen. So you're talking about, yes, it would happen all the time during the winter.
In the water.
The fact is, has it eliminated it altogether? Absolutely not. That's why they continue to run the tests. Has it reduced the number of overflows significantly? Yes, it has, to the point where people do feel it is safe now to get in and swim. And they, like you said, they test it every week. Yeah. It's not like, hey, we still think it's safe. No, they go in and make sure there's a regulatory number. Hey, we've reached that mark yet again. Ultimately, yes, it's your choice. That's why we're asking this morning, do you feel safe?
I'm not so worried, about, I mean, especially in the summer, that's when you're going to get in the river. I'm not worried about sewage. I'm worried about just like boat oil and chemicals, and I mean, we've got shipping containers and barges coming through.
Are you worried about swallowing that stuff?
Yeah, and just on your skin. I mean, you don't want oil like seeping into your skin.
I'm just looking for more comments, but I was thinking if I start swallowing any water in the Willamette, I'm nervous because that probably means I'm drowning. You know, once I start swallowing,
keep talking. I just
I'm
want to show
probably
people
dying because
photos
I'm not the strongest
of the big
swimmers,
float.
Nina.
So this is kind of what the big float looks like. This happens on Saturday. It looks like a ton of fun. People bring their floaties. There's music. Look at all of this. I mean, the river is just nuts with tons of people, 5,000, Drew said, last year, coming down and just trying to kind of take back the river for recreation and really realize that it is kind of our gem in Portland. So this is what the big float looks like. You're not really in the water if you don't want to be. So that's also, you know, a catch.
There's a whole group of people, and they'll be part of this event. They help kick it off on Saturday. They're called the River Hugger Swim Team. Now, those people are going all in the river, and they have swims now 5 days a week during the summer months, this River Hugger Swim Team.
Yeah.
Again, just trying to relay the message that our river in downtown Portland is safe to recreate in, whether you're swimming or floating or hanging out along the side there. So it really has grown. It's crazy to me because 20 years ago, this would not have happened. When they started the big float 9 years ago, that scene would not have happened. There was only a few dozen people that year, the year number one. But last year, close to 5,000 people showed up and got in the water. And the response, they did a survey afterwards, the event did, and the response was overwhelming, like, hey, that was a great time. In fact, I don't remember the number, so I shouldn't repeat it, but it was a large percentage of people said from last year's experience that was the first time they had ever gone into the Willamette River in any way, shape, or form, and they had a great time doing it.
And I guess you don't even have to touch it. You could just be on your floaty. But of course, you guys are weighing in. So let me get to some of your pretty funny posts. Okay, so we posted this morning on KGW. I asked, would you swim in Portland's Willamette River? Do you trust the water?
Right.
Larry says, as long as you don't disturb that toxic Portland sediment you're walking through, you should be good to go. I imagine the most disgusting part is just trying to get through the toxic sludge downtown. Okay, Brian says, it's the enough part that scares me, and I was referring to the water tests that show that it's, you know, clean enough to get in. Nothing about Portland leads me to believe they have any clue what clean enough is. Camula says hard pass.
I like that.
Sue,
hard pass.
No. Jillian, nope.
Hell's
Ron,
no.
hell's no, especially when y'all report sewage overflowed into the river 2 times last year. Yes, it's true. That's usually in the winter, though, when it's raining hard. But we do have actually, oh boy, we have like some major rain coming
yes,
today. And the rest of this week ahead of the big flood.
I don't think there's enough rain to disturb that the big pipe, but I'm not the expert in that. We're going to get a lot of summer rain, but that's not considered what would be considered a lot of winter rain.
No way.
Yeah, that's an overwhelming no to that response of would you, or that question of would you recreate, would you swim in the Willamette River?
Let us know. Write in right now. That's what we're looking at on Drew's phone and on this iPad is your comments live. That's how we're able to talk to you guys. So Justin says, I was at the Willamette Park boat launch Saturday. He saw an uncapped needle, a used condom, and a steel reserve can all in one pile. Score. Eric says, yeah, that's disgusting.
Yep.
Jonna, no way, no how.
This is like a 95% response rate of no. I mean, most of the people we're seeing from the earlier
What would Willie Levinson say to this?
Who is Willie Levinson? So that's the guy who started the Big Float, this event on Saturday. He started it 9 years ago. He also started a nonprofit organization called Human Access Project. And this man, he has made it his mission to change people's perception of the Willamette River. And I would say that Willie has done the job in terms of changing some people's perceptions. Otherwise, there wouldn't be 5,000 people at that event on Saturday. But you can see from the comments we're noticing today and other talk around town, he hasn't changed everyone's perception. I saw Willie yesterday to talk about the Big Float, and I said to him, you're basically trying to erase people's perception, but it's a long process. The document is long, it's small print, it's pages long. He's kind of started the idea, but there's a long ways to go because you grew up here. And I feel like as someone who grew up here, even though you've done all these stories about how the river is cleaner these days too, I know that in the back of that head of yours, you still have that thought of, oh, that's the river I was told as a kid never go into.
With it. And you know what else? And Mindy just reminded me of it. Mindy Cobb, hi, thanks for watching on Facebook. You reminded me, I have done so many stories on the transient boats, the pirate boats, that homeless people, that is their home and their shelter, but they don't have a working sewage pump. They don't have a working toilet on those boats. And the hard truth of it is most of that waste on, probably 100 boats out there on the Columbia and Willamette is going straight into the water. And also garbage from these boats because they don't have little dinghies
me. The answer is
to get
no.
it. Yeah, and that's right in downtown. It's right next to Ross Island.
Right.
It's right near where all these public beaches are going, and that's raw sewage.
The Willamette flows upwards, northwards. So it comes from where you're talking about down there by Ross Island Bridge. The water is flowing
through downtown.
Through downtown towards the
exactly.
St. John's Bridge. Anyways, I was looking for a positive response. That is a yes response. And Shannon says, I grew up swimming in the Willamette, and I'm the healthiest person. Shannon says healthy, and maybe credits the Willamette River for making them healthy.
I remember we had my dad's law firm when I was growing up. We had a boat that we shared within the firm. So every, once in a while we got to go out on the boat. and we would water ski behind the boat, and I would happily water ski, you know, and wait in the water and like didn't care. And I was a kid, so I didn't know any better. I remember sometime in the 80s or early 90s, somebody let their pet piranha and dropped it into the Willamette River. It was all over the news. There was a piranha somewhere in the river, and it scared everybody half to death. My mom would not let me get in that water. And then finally, you know, some expert comes on and is like, well, the likelihood that you're going to find this little tiny piranha, you know, or anything's going to happen.
What's the life expectancy of a piranha?
I have no idea. But that always sticks out in my mind as like, okay, now you got sewage and a piranha issue. There's no piranha in there.
Daniel Wynn chimes in. He says, I lived here for 39 years. And the real answer to this question of would you swim the Willamette is no. Word to your mother.
Ah, nice, Daniel. I like that. We're getting some comments on Instagram.
Maybe we should change the question then, because I know that Willie Levinson, who we mentioned earlier, the man who was trying to change people's perception of the Willamette, it really stems from him moving here 24 years ago and really getting like depressed over the idea that this beautiful river that flows downtown was not accessible, was not something that people got into, and he thought it was basically a shame that this green city, right? I moved here 20 years ago. I was told Portland's a green city, and it is. It's a beautiful city, which it is, but that river's disgusting. Don't go in it. So it's almost like it doesn't make sense. It's a contradiction. Why are we such a green and beautiful and clean city, and we have this dirty river?
Reminds me of that Seinfeld episode where Kramer went to swim in the Hudson, and there was like a whole group of swimmers in the Hudson River. I digress. Okay, Jeff on Instagram says, oh, the baby piranha is now over 6 feet long. Yes.
I was just told by Byron, our director, that piranhas live on the average 10 years.
Okay.
So that one would be gone if he lived his average life expectancy.
R.I.P. piranha. Jeff in Oregon. Hi, Jeff in Westland. Thanks for watching always. He says, it's not too bad down near Westland, but not up in Portland. I totally agree. We've rented. There's a great place if you don't have a boat, but on hot days, you can rent a boat or one of the party barges, like a pontoon boat, from this SK water rental place. We've done that a couple times. If you share it between, 12 people can fit on that thing. It's $300 for the day. If you split it between friends, it is a great time. I highly recommend it.
SK, they have a spot in Oregon City, I want to say, and one downtown on 43.
Yeah, yes, they're great. Rent a boat. That's what we did a couple times. And we drove it up like towards Lake Oswego and then jumped in. Okay. And I felt mentally better about that. I don't know why, because the big ships and all that stuff.
You know what you should have done? You should have just been jumping on and back, like jumping off and back on as you cruise towards downtown, and then figured out what spot am I no longer safe in.
Yeah.
Like I was good here. You probably were good past the Selwood Bridge.
Probably. That's where Ross Island is and all the homeless
So no,
boats.
you wouldn't even go that far.
No, I'd go down to Lake Oswego.
Okay.
In Westland.
How about that middle ground between Lake Oswego and the Selwood Bridge?
No, that's the worst part, I think.
Okay.
That's where all the transient boats are.
All right, fair enough.
I've seen it.
I know where you draw your line now.
I've seen the trash. I've seen the sewage. Okay, we have reached a consensus on that. Most all of you would not jump in the water. No. Second question.
Okay,
go ahead.
No, Ellie Rogers just chimes in. I'm sorry, I didn't want to move on yet, because she says, do you think there will be another 5,000 people this year, question mark? I don't imagine so. Why not? Why were there 5,000 last year and there wouldn't be this year? I'm just curious if Ellie has some background info on why people wouldn't show up this year when so many did last year. In regards to the big float, which is happening this Saturday, that's why we got this conversation started. 5,000 people showed up last year and floated. And we're not talking about like in some huge barge like you just described. They're in these individual little floaties like you would find in a swimming pool.
And you don't have to really touch the water if you don't want to.
No, but typically your feet are going to, and your backside, if if it has a hole in the middle of that float, your backside is going to be touching the water.
I'm okay with my feet in the water.
Way too many accidental sewage spills over the years. There's absolutely no way I would willingly get in that water. So, like you said, I think the no's have it. The no's have responded today in full.
Yes. Okay, topic number 2. Something, again, what do you feel comfortable with? So, let me show you something. Come over here to the touch screen.
Walk with Nina.
Walk with me. So, we buy everything on Amazon, but check out what they're selling now. This is for 18 grand. You can buy this kit to make this little cabin.
It's cute.
It is cute. Here's some of the pictures. Let me show you. Here is the layout. It is very bare bones. This is the upstairs loft where like your bedroom would be. These are whatever you want. This kitchen has to go somewhere. A bathroom has to go somewhere. It doesn't come with that.
It's as basic as
What do you want
be.
here? Look at this loft. That's all it is.
That's cool.
It's tiny.
See, I like the idea here. Now, obviously, it's 18 grand, and it's not ready to live in because you don't have the plumbing, you don't have the electrical. It is bare bones.
This is the top. There's no roof.
Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty sure.
Wait a minute. It didn't look. It looked like there was a roof on that first picture.
Well, I think
maybe it was the angle. It has a roof.
You have to add installation.
Yep.
Assembly takes 2 to 3 days. Do it yourself.
It comes with all the nails, the screws, and the fixings, the handles, and the door lock.
Thank God.
What more do you want?
Anyway, the point of this is,
It doesn't have that?
Well, I don't know.
I think it does. I think you're just looking at a sketch of.
No, I read in the description it does not have any roofing material.
Now I'm concerned.
I just can't find it.
I do need a roof.
The point is, look at this. 292 square feet. The sleeping loft is not part of that, so it's a tiny bit bigger. About 300 square feet-ish. What is the minimum square footage that you could live in? My apartment in Sacramento was probably the smallest place that I have lived, and it was about 700 square feet. It had a place for a little dining table, had a good-sized bathroom, a tiny living room, and a tiny bedroom. 700 square feet, and it was great. One person. Drew, in your days living single.
I think it has a roof.
How small was your apartment?
One time I shared a studio in my final days.
Shared a studio?
In my final days in Abilene, Texas.
Yeah.
That was one of my first TV markets. I knew I was leaving. I'd got a job in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Big step up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, from Abilene to Johnstown. So I was like, I didn't want to renew the lease on the apartment I was living in. So I asked a buddy who I made friends with down there. I said, hey, can I move into your studio? He's like, absolutely. This will be great. And we shared a studio apartment for 7 weeks.
7 weeks.
One
Did you
bathroom,
kill each other?
one room, essentially. There was a little kitchen area, but it was still connected to this one room. We both slept on air mattresses.
Yeah.
He was already sleeping in one. I just grabbed another one and slept in it.
This is so guys.
There's more of a there's a total guy part of the story that I cannot repeat online anywhere.
Oh.
But
tell me afterwards.
we were cool with hanging out. Put it that way. It was like we didn't bother each other.
Connotation.
Well, it means that it didn't bother me if he was watching TV. It didn't bother him what I was eating. There was no rules. We just kind of did our thing.
That's kind of a guy thing.
Yeah.
I wish more girls were.
He didn't care if I dropped crumbs on the floor. I didn't care if he showed up in the middle of the night and I was sleeping. And nothing mattered. It was nice.
So that was a studio. So what, 400 square feet, 500 square feet?
Yes, about 550 square feet.
So you can do it. And you said you could live here with your wife.
Yeah, I could.
And you'd be totally fine with it. How would she feel?
Nah, she wouldn't like it at all.
She'd not.
She likes space.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm like, you're smaller than me. You don't need that much room to stretch out. Why do you need more space?
Our stuff, man. Our shoes.
Yeah.
My shoes.
And she would also I guess you could put this on property. I might convince her if I said, hey, I'm going to get you more acreage.
And then we could be
and
outside.
We could have horses back there. Maybe I could convince her that this would be our dwelling space because I really don't need a lot of space to live in.
But your 2 kids aren't going to fit in here.
No, it would be tough for kids. I would not want to live in here with my wife and 2 kids. No, this is post graduation. This is after they've left the house.
Okay. So we're getting a lot of comments on this. So let me know, what is the square footage that you could handle? So I posted this morning on my Facebook page. So people have some funny stories. Steven says, I bought a 2,100 square foot in Cleveland for $35,000 that has electric and plumbing and cabinets and was move-in ready. That's a better deal than Amazon.
Well, the only problem is right there.
Cleveland, Ohio?
Cleveland, yeah. Why would you pay more than that to live in Cleveland?
One of my very good friends, Jordan, chimed in. She had a little condo down in Northwest Portland here, 540 square feet. 1 bedroom, 1 bath. It was perfect just for me. Now she has 4 kids, Drew.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't happen now.
Nope.
Casey says, when I was in the Navy, I lived in my van to get away from the ship. Lived in my van. Not much more personal room, but a ton of privacy, not to mention better scenery in the mountains outside of San Diego. Yeah. Steve right now lives in 520 square feet, could probably go down to 300.
Wow.
A company in Oregon City has some fantastic, those shipping container houses are pretty fascinating.
Steve Gatt.
Jennifer says, if it were just me, I could totally live in a tiny home. 300 to 500 square feet would be just fine. But with a husband, 2 kids, and a German Shepherd, yeah, that's not going to happen. He was asking about the roof. I said, there are no shingles or weather protection. Okay. So there you go. So what do you guys think? I need our Facebook comments.
People are over. I should have brought my streaming comments.
Our streaming devices. Jeff on Instagram, hi again. He says, is it a workplace, office, or in the backyard? You can make it whatever you want. 18 grand on Amazon.
Look at all these people chiming in. Sorry, we left you
Oh yeah, we left you hanging. We couldn't see.
Oh wow, Stanford. You know, Stanford chimes in a lot. He says his minimum is 2,000 square feet. Needs at least 2K. I grew up in 1,000. I told you earlier.
If you have any kind of hobby, I mean, I guess even if it's like outdoor stuff, like you need some kind of.
You need storage space.
Yeah.
Yeah, we grew up, my sister, my mom, and I, in just under 1,000 square feet outside of Philadelphia. One bathroom between the three of us. One. Not there wasn't.
Always like, get out of there.
There wasn't a half bathroom somewhere else. It was one toilet in the house, and I didn't think twice about it. But now when I go back with my two kids and visit my mom in that same house, and those two boys, they're twins, right? Something about the twindom. They always seem to have to go to the bathroom at the same time, either direction. And it's like, yeah, one boy ran upstairs to go, and the other one was like, okay, where am I going? I'm like, you're waiting. Yeah. Like, what do you mean I'm waiting? I'm like, that's the toilet. Your brother's got it. You have to wait. They couldn't believe that they wouldn't have another toilet to use.
The worst part of that is you have to be the second person to go in after them.
Yeah, they don't seem to mind that about each other.
They will.
There's a bond. There's a bond between those two.
You need the air freshener can afterwards.
Oh, man. So a lot of people, again, chiming in on both topics today, but this most recent one about the square footage, we have Kevin Keith, who says the smallest I ever lived in was Austin, Texas, 525 square feet. He said there was another 525 square foot space he lived in when he was in Utah. So I guess he lived in a small spot in Austin and then another small space in Utah. Aaron says, I lived in a 640 square foot house with 4 kids and a wife. Whoa. Aaron McCreary. We need more information on that.
Aaron.
640 square feet. He, his wife, and 4 kids. 6 people?
Holy cow.
I'm doing the quick math.
That's bunk beds for sure.
That is less than that. Well, just over 100 square feet per person.
Bunk beds maybe acting as a couch as well, plus another mattress.
I will say, and Aaron, you can tell me how you guys managed that situation. That house I described, it was a row home in Philadelphia. Yeah. I had a best friend in middle school who lived in the same house just a few blocks away. There were 9 of them. I was the 3 of us in ours.
House,
they had 9 in theirs. Mom, dad, and 7 kids. And there were
just how things were,
they had
you know.
3 different bunk beds. A bunk bed in one room and 2 bunk beds at another.
Mm-hmm. I think we're kind of getting back to that. A lot of people want to simplify, you know.
Yeah.
I give piles of stuff away to Goodwill because I just don't want it sitting around. And I want to be able to use the rooms that I have and not just store stuff. But
I hate the idea of spending more money than you need to on anything, and that includes the house and the car. Like the house that I currently live in, I feel like we're paying money for it, and in my opinion, a lot of money for it when we don't really need all that space.
Yeah.
Why are we living there?
Happy wife, happy life.
That's why.
That's why.
Thank you for reminding me.
Thank you guys so much for chatting live with us. We are here every day at 7 a.m. for Sunrise Extra